Daryl Recommends Podcast is a podcast recommending series and shouldn't be mistaken as a reviewing one. Opinions about each show are my own and should not reflect what the podcast has to offer. Content warnings aside, I believe if any recommendation of my series interests you, you should give it a chance, regardless of how I personally feel about the show.
An activist, and in some reports a militant communist, or at least closely tied to them. Regardless of if they're spurious rumours, what we know to be true is that he's a priest that's involved in politics, and that means...
He's a priest that's involved in his community, and beloved, and his parish is much larger than ours. With his interest in theology at Trinity, you'll have a lot to talk about.
You mean argue about?
You do so love arguing. Oh, here he is. Welcome, Father.
Thank you. And thank you for taking the time to welcome me into your parish. Father Emmanuel and Father Langdon. Is that right?
We don't stand on ceremony well. Too much ceremony here. Call me Olu Jimmy, or Olu. You indicated in our emails that you wish to become a credentialed priest, Professor.
I thought I might be able to help educate my churchgoers, and Trinity was suggested.
3 Catholic priests find themselves stuck in an isolated Ontario mansion during a blizzard. Trapped with the demon, the 3 of them must exorcise it before it can escape to the outside world. The only problem is, the demon is a true believer, and thus is inoculated against Catholicism. Dominus is a horror podcast created by Matsi Dapwell, and currently not only has a 1-hour pilot episode out right now, but a Kickstarter that has officially, as of like a couple days before me recording this, has reached its goal of being a fully funded show. So why am I recommending this show now? Well, again, it has a Kickstarter, but there are stretch goals that you guys can help the show reach in order to have the artists and the voice actors get paid more and get some more goodies that the show has to offer during its campaign. Guys, I'm very excited that the show got funded. I was originally planning on, when I was like, I'm gonna go do a recommendation to get some more eyes on the Kickstarter, I was gonna be like, guys, I need the show made. I really like the pilot. And then it got funded. So now I'm like, yeah, you guys should go support the show and at least go listen to the pilot. So I very much enjoyed it. I love the concept of like a demon who is immune to being exorcised specifically because the demon is also Catholic. I find that a very great take. There's a lot of like stories out there of like priests or like, you know, religious adjacent a la The Conjuring characters of exorcising ghosts and demons and things like that, which are fine. I'm a notorious I love religious horror kind of horror fan, but like I have a different specific kind of like version of religious horror that I like, and so like the ghost exorcising thing usually isn't like the thing that I'm like, yes, this is what I want in the show. But I love this as like a unique take on what I admittedly think is kind of one of the more boring versions of doing a religious horror story, but it's fine because this pilot is really good and I want to see the show finished. And so I think I enjoy the pilot a lot. It introduces us to our main characters. So our main characters are Follow Olujimi Emmanuel, who is voiced by Linval Brown, if you know him from as the narrator from Disco Elysium. He is also in Ultra Kill, which I'm very familiar with both of those games. I like know what they are, but I've never like played them myself. So this was my first introduction to him as like a voice actor. But then it also has a other familiar face of Karim Kronflee, who plays Father Frederick Langdon, one of our other main characters. So if you're a fan of the Magnus Archives, of Midnight Burger, of SCP Archives, like I'm trying to remember every single show he's been in because he's been in a lot of things. Karim Kronflee also is in the show. And then a new voice to me also, who is Vexing Lex, who plays Father Jonas Katigbak. He is also our third main character. And it also includes other different voice actors, such as like Anisha Battersby from the Magnus Protocol, who plays Mary, who is one of our female main characters. And then there's also David Alt and of course Matsi herself, who plays some of the other side characters. The show is very good. It's got a very good cast. It has like, the vibes are like perfect for like a horror, like this specific type of like horror story. Like when you're watching like a horror movie like The Exorcist, and it's like there's like that like kind of like everything's fine and normal, but there's just something that's like not quite right about like what is happening. This show has like, it nails that vibe really good. And I very much enjoyed that, like atmosphere wise, just perfect. It's got like weird stuff happening. There's things with deer. You guys know I love my deer and horror imagery. Deer are terrifying creatures, and every time there is one in a piece of horror media, and as long as it doesn't do the thing that I hate about deer and horror, I eat it. I eat it like a dog. I shake it around in my mouth and I go, grrr. I love how the deer horror in this is. It's very good. It's very good, and I'm enjoying it. I like the characters. I like the priest dynamic. You got like Jonas, who is on like the more like progressive side, whereas Frederick is more of like your stereotypical traditional priest. And then you got Olujimi, who is like a priest who is like struggling with his faith because of this like vague thing that has happened in his past. And they talk a little bit about it. I'm not going to go too much into it because it's like still kind of like, ooh, what's your deal? What happened? But you kind of get like some details about what had happened in it. So I'm very excited to learn more about that when the full show gets made. Because again, like I said, the Kickstarter has been fully funded, but there's still more that can be reached for their stretch goals. There's first stretch goal, which is at 12,500 CAD. I do not know what the conversion is at the top of my head. Sorry. But I believe it's like they currently are at like 6,000 USD, a little over 6,000 USD, so it's like another 6,000 USD after that. But when they get to their first stretch goal, what they want to do is they want to put the revenue towards their additional payment for the voice actors. And so then they could go to pay them more for their work for the show, which is very good. Definitely a lot. And of course, they also wanted to do more art for the characters and of like physical deliveries for stuff when they get to a higher goal, which I believe is 15,000 CAD. It's just, yes, good stuff, some good stuff. But you could get some physical rewards right now. I'm doing a little bit of Kickstarter promoting at this section of the video, by the way. But you can get stickers by Jared Draws, who you kind of see in this like speed paint I'm doing in the background, because I did use their stickers as reference. I love Jared's art. Jared did draw Denver one time, and I love them for that. So it was very great seeing their art on here, and you can also get their art as stickers. Their work is so good, and they're very nice. I met them at a con once as well. But also, if you do love religious art, like specifically specifically on the queer variety, you can also get prints and stuff made by Wolfie the Witch, who is very well known if you're in the Magnus Archives fandom. Like, they draw some really good Magnus Archives fan art. If you follow them for their Odysseus and Jesus fan art, you could also like recognize their art from this, because they went and designed the characters for the show, and you could get like prints made by them. They're like little postcards. It's very cool. I'm very excited to see what else they get to do, if they get to do more art stuff. But they have been like drawing, like they posted like a little doodle recently of like some of the characters. It's very nice. So yeah, that is my pitch to why you should support the Kickstarter. But I am saying that you should go at the very least, if you can't give money to any show right now, if you are like not interested in donating to a Kickstarter, you should at the very least go and like check out what their what the show has to offer, and decide if you want to keep listening. And maybe that will convince you to donate to the Kickstarter if you are on the fence about it. But you should go listen to the show anyway. I very much enjoyed it a lot. There is a lot that happens in like the first episode without being like super overwhelming. I think it's very nicely paced. I think it's very interesting, and it just like it sets up a right mood for this like particular kind of story, and I think that's really good. That's like the one thing I always like with a pilot. You always have to put so much information into it, at least in like animation, just to get like people interested in seeing a story continue. And I think this does it well enough without being like super fast paced, because it's not really fast paced, but giving you enough information and enough intrigue to make you want more episodes. And it's very good how it's done. It's very well written, and of course the voice acting is amazing. Like it's got people I recognize. It's got people that I'm like new to. So if you like some of the voice actors I mentioned, I think you should go check it out. They did a great job. And as for the end of the video, I'm going to be linking the Kickstarter down below, as well as any other additional links. I don't know if Dominus has a site, but I know that Amatsi has a Patreon, so I might link that as well. Though, if you do want to throw money her way, I suggest maybe help fund the Kickstarter first, if specifically for Dominus. I don't know if there's anything on Patreon for Dominus outside of just, like, the pilot episode and stuff for nivanA, which nivanA is really good, so if you also want to go listen to nivanA, you should go do that. Yeah, that's it. I hope you guys go help support Dominus, and I am very excited for when this show gets made. Bye!